How one global digital currency can stop a world economic collapse? For thousands of years, gold was the global reserve currency. After the Second World War, the USA became a superpower, and since it had 75% of the world's monetary gold and had pegged $35 to 1 ounce of gold, countries naturally started trading mostly in US dollar, making it de facto reserve currency of the world. But this new financial world order started falling apart from August 1971, when the US President Richard Nixon severed the direct convertibility of US dollars into gold. Governments rolled over, print fiat currencies without having any intrinsic value backed by gold, leading to a situation where many of these currencies become worthless, causing hyperinflation. We have seen this happen in 56 countries including Zimbabwe, Greece, Venezuela, China, etc. The world cannot take any further refuge in the US dollars because the American government is printing dollars like never before. Coronavirus pandemic will be the needle that will soon prick this unsustainable bubble, and we are about to witness times worse than the Great Depression of 1929. China is planning to back yuan with gold, but why should the world now trust China, having suffered by making US the spoiled brat? Bitcoin is another fiat currency which no government will ever allow to become legal, as they cannot get taxes from it. Gold is just a rare piece of shiny metal. The huge crisis we are faced with right now deserves a complete overhaul, a complete out-of-the-box idea to avoid the impending death spiral. I have come out with a simple solution which is very easy to understand and implement. Whenever a company needs a loan, the bank checks its 2 to 3 years audited annual figures and then decides how much loan to be given lest they go bankrupt. A country is similar to a company and must run it profitably, keeping its debt and expenses in control. A country's gross domestic product is the total value of the goods and service produced by it in a year. Banks and rating agencies can audit its GDP figures for the last 2 to 5 years. So all the countries of the world must come together, with one single equal vote for each country, to form a single global digital currency bank, called the GDC Bank, and float a single universal digital currency called GDC. Only the GDC Bank will have the right to decide how much GDCs can be created, how much of it to be given to each country, and maintain all countries' digital ledgers transparently online for all other countries to see. Each country's central bank can then decide how much of GDCs to be transferred into each citizen's bank account. The GDCs will be created simultaneously together, by all the countries through one representative, from every country doing these activities impartially online, just like the non-profit body, ICANN, maintains the internet system running smoothly globally. No country, big or small, will suffer any loss. Countries with higher GDPs will get more GDCs. Each and every country will get the same percentage of GDC as its verified GDP total is for the last 2 years or more, such that there is no GDC shortage for day-to-day transactions. Every year, if the country's GDP increases, the GDC Bank will verify it and accordingly add the GDC amount, but if the GDP goes negative, then no additional GDC will be given to it. 5 GDCs could be valued at 1 yen, so that the poorest of the poor can buy the cheapest of things in their country without any difficulty. No country can be refused to become a member of the GDC Bank. Just because any country has printed much more of its current currency or taken much more debt than its GDP, does not mean that it will be eligible to get more GDCs. The GDP of each country will be the intrinsic value on which it will get GDCs, that is, the GDP will be the new gold standard. All countries' 5-year GDP calculations will have to be done by the GDC Bank, whether they want to join it or not immediately, so that the base currency conversion calculation rate is set. Whichever country joins later on, their cutoff base date will still remain as what was initially agreed upon date. 31st of December 2018 or 31st of March 2019 could be taken as the cutoff base date. The United Nations, the World Bank, and IMF expertise and experience can be utilized to help in these efforts initially, but these bodies cannot be fully trusted to do an impartial work, as a few developed countries have more shareholding and veto powers in these institutions. GDC Bank should utilize the technology behind digital currencies like crypto and blockchain, so that all transactions can be traced and there is no financial fraud. 4G or 5G, face recognition and voice authentication will enable cashless online transactions for everyone, even without a mobile phone in a few seconds. As of today, 5.2 billion people have smartphones, but by 2023 over 7.3 billion people will be possessing one. Even if 50 countries adopt the GDC to start with, and start transactions in GDCs rather than the US dollar, I am pretty sure that within 2 to 3 years, most of the other countries will soon follow. Only the top 10% countries like the USA, China, Eurozone, UK, Switzerland etc. may resist initially, or criticize saying it is an impractical idea, but sooner or later they will also have to toe the line once 90% of the world has come together, to completely switch to GDCs. Only countries that will suffer a downturn for a short time, will be those who have printed money much more than their GDP figure. That is, countries living beyond their means, but over a long period of time every country will benefit. It is a fair, transparent and unbiased system in which every country will be forced to come out with sensible economic policies. The world moved from barter to gold to paper, and now it is time to move to a single universal digital currency. Just as air, water and internet flow seamlessly across borders, similarly GDC will enable faster and smoother trade between nations, making all nations wealthy and avoid colossal wastage of time. There are fantastic benefits of GDC, as can be seen in our detailed video on the topic. It is a practical implementable idea. Politicians world over mostly think the short term of winning the next elections and typically push the can down the road, but now the road has ended by forwarding to all your WhatsApp contacts list, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, email, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, various media channels, websites, Google, calling up etc. So that all 8 billion people read or view it and support it and build a mass movement petition to their governments to opt for it fast, and they do not ignore or dismiss it. Looking at the benefits of crypto and blockchain, some countries may launch their own virtual currencies, but then again, we will suffer for another 50 years with a plethora of such virtual fiat currencies, and so it is high time that we learn from our bad experiences, and skip this fourth semi-final stage and directly move to the final fifth generation of starting a single global digital currency. Yes, you the viewer have the power to stop the world economic collapse, by forwarding it to a minimum 100 people, and these 100 people, in turn, forward it to the next 100 people, then 10,000 people would have seen it. When these 10,000 people forward it to another 100 people, then 1 million people will get it, and when these 1 million people forward it to the next 100 people, then 100 million people would have read it, and by just the fifth forward, all 8 billion people would have read it. So be optimistic that your efforts will get results and forward it right now. Yes, there will be short-term disruptive pains, but we must be ready to sacrifice something for long-term gains. The time bomb is ticking very fast, and time for half-baked, half-hearted solutions is over, as we have reached a point of no return. Please find below link to know how to freely extract all email ads from your Gmail account. Still, having doubts? Feel free to get in touch with the creator of this simple solution, Mr. Pankaj Bhargava, founder and CEO of HR Mantra Software, the world's most advanced HR and payroll software. Email ID is pankaj@hrmantra.com. Thank you for your support. Have a great future ahead.